Our guest today is ISU head football coach Bob Otolski, perhaps better known as Coach O. Coach, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Terry. It's always a pleasure being with you people.
ISU is considered a 1-2A school in football. What does that really mean?
Well, primarily, it's a good question because a lot of people have questions about what is a 1AA school as opposed to a 1A school. Primarily, it's season ticket sales, stadium size. For example, University of Illinois is a 1A school, and they seat something like 76,000 people in their stadium. We will have approximately 15 to 20,000. So anything under 25 would be a 1AA type school. The other thing is number of scholarships. The 1A schools have 95. The 1AA schools have 70. And then, of course, there's sizes and coaching staffs and et cetera. But the big thing is size of stadium and number of scholarships. And then I think the other thing is for example, Villanova won the basketball, national championship in basketball. Well, for example, Illinois State can do the same thing. We are a 1A school in all other sports. We're 1AA in football. So football, we will never win the so-called national championship competing against the Notre Dames, Ohio States, or Michigans. But the nice thing about it that I like is that we can still win a national championship. We do have a national championship in 1AA football.
So you would win a national championship, Bob, or you would be eligible to try to win one against institutions that have similar type programs with similar financing. We're not mixing apples and oranges here. We're not mixing an institution with a football budget of $2 or $3 million versus our own football budget of more modest proportions.
That's exactly right, and that's the thing that I like best about our Illinois State situation in 1AA football, because we certainly would be very, very proud to get into a postseason game. That is our bowl games. You know, we would never get into a Rose Bowl or an Orange Bowl or any other type of situation. So by us getting into a postseason playoff berth, that is our bowl game, and that would be great for us.
Well, of course, one of the reasons that the Missouri Valley Conference decided to do away with football at the conclusion of this current season was the fact that the institutions which comprised the Valley could not agree on whether they want it to be 1A or 1AA. Tulsa has been running a big-time program for years. Wichita, which just defeated Tulsa, beat Houston.
Right, Southwest Conference champions.
Yes, and then Wichita State beat Kansas State at Kansas State, a Big 8 school. Those two schools, I think, are pretty well committed to attempting to retain a high profile in football, while the other institutions were happy to compete at the 1AA level. So since that tended to tear the Valley apart rather than bring it together, we decided to go our separate ways. Well, most of us have gone into this new Gateway Conference. Bob, how do you evaluate the strengths of the Gateway Collegiate Athletic Conference, the football division that has sprung up within that?
Well, I think it's going to be one of the strongest 1AA football leagues in the country. We know we defeated Western Illinois last week.
Now, we'll want to talk about that a little later.
Right,
That's a good way to start the season.
But one of their games that they won, matter of fact, the last game of the season was they defeated Indiana State quite handily, 22-2, and Indiana State was ranked number 1 in the country in 1AA football for most part of the year, and of course they were the playoff berth the last 2 years. So when you have Illinois State, you have Western Illinois, you've got Southern Illinois, who's defending national champions.
Southern won the national championship 2 years ago, I believe.
Eastern's been in championship games. This is going to be a very strong conference, and I look forward that we will get an automatic berth into the playoff system probably next year.
As soon as we've completed, I think, 2 years, then we can get an automatic, and of course that doesn't prevent an outstanding team going to getting an at-large berth now.
That's correct. Right now, the way the structure is, there are 12 teams that will get into the playoff berths, or the so-called bowl games for us. And 7 of them are automatic because of conference championships.
Right.
So that leaves 5 to be at-large berth, and of course that's one of the things we'll be competing for.
Well, Bob, what about the geographic proximity of institutions that are competing within this Gateway division? Will that be of help to us?
I believe so, because again we have natural rivalries. Eastern and Western and Southern. We've been playing for years. Southwest Missouri is close.
Well, we played them for years.
And we played them for years, right? So the nice thing
Northern
about
Iowa, we played them recently. I think for the last 4 or 5 years.
That's
haven't we?
correct, and we've got them on the schedule. The nice thing about it, we didn't have to change our schedule. We had every
to play a full Gateway Conference schedule. We're already playing it.
Right, and so that makes it feel real good, and it makes it comparable for the fans to come and see the games. And I think it's just good, as you mentioned, travel budgets. I think that will enhance our programs quite a bit. So we
won't be spending much money on plane fares, and put
right.
more money into other aspects.
As
of the
you
program.
know, it costs a lot of money to go to West Texas State.
Yes, I do know that.
And so it saves quite a bit of money for us.
What do you feel about the involvement in the conference? Do you feel that the fact that the Gateway Conference originated as a conference dealing with women's athletics will prove to be a problem now that we have a football division under the aegis of that conference?
No, I don't think so, because primarily we're still in Illinois State University. And the thing that makes our school great is Illinois State University, and we have people such as yourself that help us in recruiting. Those are the kinds of things that enhance a youngster coming to a particular school. It's not so much as a conference, but yes, we will be using the terminology of Gateway Conference, but I don't think we'll ever come up or people will use it against us that it was a women's conference or what have you. Personally, I feel as a coach very committed to the Gateway Conference, and we love it because it gives us as athletes and as coaches a great chance to compete and be a dominant factor in a conference. And we think we can compete very favorably in this conference.
Well, of course, once the conference champions go to the postseason tournaments and do well, I think that also will remove any concern any of us would have about that. You've been here now for 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. What, as you look back on it, Bob, what individual and team successes have you seen? You've had football. Was it a low ebb when you came here? How do you see us progressing?
Well, first of all, we are an academic institution, so I'll start with academics. I feel very proud of the fact that we've been here 4 years, and so that very first recruiting class that we brought in has now graduated or is in the process of graduating, because not all athletes graduate in 4 years.
How are we doing on that? How's that first recruiting class doing?
Of all the freshmen we brought in, every one will have graduated or will graduate this year, except one youngster, and we feel exceptionally proud.
Well, that is a remarkable record. That is a remarkable record. Congratulations to you and your staff. Keep up the good work, because
Thank you.
Really reflects well on the kind of young man you're recruiting for this program.
Well, we feel real good about it because we feel that you win with character, not characters, and academics obviously is a very important part. As football is concerned, as you mentioned, we felt we came here at a low ebb. Attendance was down. The games were not close. So the first thing we did was become competitive, and then we had a great season. Our third year here, finished 17th in the country. In the last 2 years, we narrowly missed winning the Missouri Valley Conference Championship. For example, last year, Indiana State had to come from behind to defeat us at Indiana State, and of course we played conference champion Tulsa right here. It's a 0-0 ball game at half, and a break here or there, who knows what could have happened. So
of course, playing Tulsa, let's be honest, you're playing a team that has 95 grants in aid. We have 70. You're playing a team that is a Division 1A as versus a 1AA. It really was, I think, a primary reason why most of us who were presidents in the Missouri Valley Conference felt that this just wasn't a very good situation. It's hard to compete against somebody that has all those advantages over you.
Well, it's just like the same thing academically. If you put a youngster that you start him out in calculus before he gets algebra, makes it very difficult for him to compete, and it's really the same situation. But we were really proud of the fact that we finished third in the Missouri Valley Conference. We had lost, I believe, 3 straight games, very tough games, and then we had to go play Wichita State, another 1A school, last game of the year for third place in the conference at their place, and we were very fortunate to win the game.
Well, win it 17-0, as I recall.
Right,
Shut
and
them out.
we felt very good about it.
Last year started out with high hopes. We had a good year. I believe the record was 5 wins, 6 losses. We wish it could have been better. What happened?
Well, I think basically at the end of September, we were ranked as high as 10th in the country
Right,
in double-A football,
right.
and we were really riding high. Then we had 2 injuries to our running backs, Virgil Winters and Kevin Jones, and from that point on, we went from a real good running football team to a very mediocre running team, and it hurt our offense. And then we lost our best receiver, Dave Wilson. The following week, he broke his collarbone in practice. So our offensively, we went from one of the top offensive football teams in the country to, again, a very mediocre offensive football team, and really hurt us.
Well, you had young people of great talent who stepped in, but still there's nothing like veterans if they can play for you. They know the system, they know the other teams, and it's hard for a freshman, for example, to step in and give you the same level of performance, I would think.
Definitely. And, of course, as you mentioned, Jason Johnson was just a freshman, and he gained something like 189 yards in the last game that really helped us win.
He wasn't a freshman by
then.
He wasn't
a freshman by
was
then.
he? He was really coming along.
He was battle tested.
Right. But you feel that these key injuries then, of course I totally agree with you, that these key injuries just removed the sting from the Redbird attack, and from there on in you sort of had to rely on the defense, which was very good.
Very good, and we finished 12th in the country and number 1 in our conference in Missouri Valley, so we felt very good about that. And I would say at the end of September, as a total football team, we were one of the best 1AA programs in the country. I really felt that good about our team. And it was unfortunate that we had those injuries.
Had one loss that took the wind out of your sails. I remember we were ahead 21-0 at Central Florida, and then the team eventually lost a close game. I think that psychologically was tough to
overcome.
It
really was. And then the following week, we ran into the rains at Western. Of course, Western did a tremendous job against us, and that was, as you mentioned, that was the beginning of our demise.
Well, it wasn't a total demise at all, because you ended up on a winning note against a 1A football team on their home turf, and I suspect you feel that has enabled you to get started on the right track this year.
Right. I felt that was a very good momentum build-up for us going into spring practice and for this year, because now we got a little win streak going. We got 2 wins going in succession, and we want to build upon that.
Let's talk a little bit about the losses. Now, you had some very, very talented athletes who used up their eligibility last year. Who are some of the key people that we wish we could see again in the Redbird uniform?
Well, offensively, we'll have to start with Kevin Jones and Virgil Winters, 2 outstanding running backs that were ranked in the top 10 in all-time ISU history, both as pass receivers and runners.
Excellent runners.
And then, of course, Johnny Copen's our quarterback, 4-year starter, who signed a contract with the Raiders and now is back in school, I think, completing his last 7 or 8 hours to get his degree. He was a tremendous 4-year quarterback for us.
Well, John will finish his degree. I know that. He's a good person.
Good person, and he's helping us right now in the football program.
Right, I see him down on the field.
So I think those were key losses offensively. And then defensively, of course, Mike Pryor.
What can you say? The guy is a pro. He's playing for the Tampa Bay team.
Buccaneers.
Right.
And
how good was he? He just must be outstanding.
Well, he's everything that epitomizes our program. He's a tremendous student athlete. He graduated here. He only had to take 13 hours the last semester to graduate with a double major.
In 4 years.
In 4 years, right. And he also played football as well.
He graduated
as baseball.
with some pretty good grades, as I recall.
B student.
Yes.
And so we're exceptionally proud of what he accomplished. And as a football player, he broke every record ever established as a defensive back here at Illinois State, plus anything that ever was established in the Missouri Valley Conference. He also was a great kick returner. But more importantly than anything else, here's a young man who loves Illinois State University, has called us. He will do anything he can to help us recruiting, what have you. Just a first-class individual, and we really love Mike Pryor.
I thought Mike might sign a contract to play baseball. He was also not only an outstanding student, an outstanding football player, but an outstanding baseball player, and I suspect he could be playing professional baseball today if that had been what
he was
elected to do.
drafted third or fourth round by the Dodgers,
Right.
and so he was a good player. And as you mentioned, a couple other youngsters, Tim McCarthy. He also was a 4-year starter. We had
Tim's still around, I think.
Tim's still around,
working on his degree.
Right. And then we have we lost 3 or 4 other defensive backs. They were all seniors back there.
You sure did lose a lot out of the defensive backfield, didn't you?
Right, and I was real pleased the way our youngsters came along in that first game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that now that we've cried in our lemonade over the demise of these fine athletes that were among your first recruiting class standouts. What about the team that we saw win 18-6 over Western Illinois? The game started off, first half was exciting. The second half, both teams slowed down. Good reason for that, isn't there, Coach?
Right, I think the heat had a lot to do with it. But I was very proud of our team, particularly the condition that they came into the season with. And I have to give a lot of credit to Pat Gregory, our strength and conditioning coach, our medical staff led by Dr. Tony Dussman and Bob Keefe, and our entire coaching staff. They just did a tremendous job in whipping our team into good physical condition.
They sure look to be in good shape.
We're very proud of that, and our youngsters played hard for all 4 quarters and 60 minutes. But I think the heat did take its toll the second half.
Well, on both teams.
Right.
On both teams. You might have noted in the Nebraska-Florida State game, the score was 17-13 in favor of Florida State at the half, and at the end of the game, it was the same score. I think that even teams as great as that can't bear up under the kind of heat that we had last Saturday.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, what about that game? You want to do a little analysis of it and talk about some of the strengths of this year's personnel, about some of your freshmen. We had some freshmen make big plays out there.
Well, first of all, as far as the game was concerned, we were extremely proud. It was a very history-making game. It was the first game in the Gateway Conference, and it was held here at Bloomington Normal.
Our commissioner was here, Patty DeVarito.
And we won the game, and our kids played well, and we defeated a quality opponent.
There's no question really about that, is there? Western Illinois, while they lost that game, they're going to win some games.
They're going to win some games. They're a good football team. They were, I believe, 6-4-1 last year, and they defeated 4 Missouri Valley Conference foes last year. Right. So they were a good football team. They had 10 out of 11 coming back on the offensive side. They have quite a few good defensive players coming back.
So they're going to beat some people.
They're going to beat some people. So it was a good win for us. As far as some of the players, obviously a young man who made a great play, who you helped recruit, was Brian Gant. You know, here you mentioned the first half. We kind of dominated the first half, and it's 6-0 in our favor with about 2 minutes to go. We had a miscue on a fumbled punt, and lo and behold, it looks like we may go into halftime getting beat 7-6. But our defense held up. They made a great stand. Western tries to kick a field goal, and you talk about making a big play and turning the thing around.
Right.
Brian Gant comes in, blocks the kick, enables our offense now in the last minute and 20-some seconds to use the 2-minute drill and take that ball and take it on in for a score. So we go ahead by a pretty good margin at that time at half.
Well, I don't know. I've seen big hits out here. I don't know who's made the hardest hit. It's between Brian Gant and Conley, number 18. If you watch that youngster in the defensive backfield, he is a very good player. And let's talk a little bit about that young defensive backfield. There's some names back there we're going to be hearing about for a long while. They may be a little inexperienced, but they have a lot of talent.
A lot of talent. We're very pleased with them. As you mentioned, Gary Conley, he's probably the old man of our
sophomore.
He's a sophomore. He's had more experience than anyone else. We've got Jeff Smith. You talk about a freshman coming in. Jeff Smith, who you helped also recruit from Ohio, came in, just did a tremendous job. Kind of had an opening game like Mike Pryor had.
Well, he had an excellent opening game.
Excellent opening game. We have a Calhoun, another sophomore. Tom Blumenschein, who walked on our football team.
Walked his way on to a Grant and A, didn't he?
Grant and A's got a full scholarship now, and we're very proud.
Well, he deserves it.
And so we feel that they're freshman, sophomore youngsters back there, but they're going to be there for some time, and they're very good athletes.
I was tremendously impressed with the work of Warren Calhoun. quickness that he exhibited, the ability to run back punts. He seems to have, he may be a sophomore by class, but he certainly has a lot of football savvy, a lot of ability.
Yes, he does, and we're very pleased the way he's progressed here. As we were concerned about, you mentioned the kicking game. We were concerned about losing Mike Pryor if we can have someone return back to kicks and punts. And Warren volunteered in our summer camp, and I'm glad he did because he did a tremendous job. But I believe you're right. I think Warren will give us some exciting moments.
Apparently had some leg cramps during the game because of the heat, I guess.
Right.
He all right now?
Yes, he's fine.
Let's talk a little bit about that kicking game. Nothing much to kick about there, Coach. Would you say?
Well, the number one thing is we're very pleased the way Paul Politi returned to his freshman form. Last year was kind
letter
of
perfect, wasn't he?
He was letter perfect. I'm talking. He made some great kicks. With the heat had something to do with our center getting high on his snaps, and Dave Wilson did a tremendous job trying to get the ball down.
Dave got it down pretty well.
Dave got it down pretty well. Did a great job, but Paul Politi had to make the kicks, and he did it. And we won. You talk about the kicking game. We won the game by 12 points, and Paul Politi gets 12 points for us on
those are pretty important 12 points.
Right.
The punting game. Let's talk about that.
Well, Mike McCabe's another freshman from Ohio. And he did a tremendous job. Although he did not kick for a great average, they did not return any of his kicks.
Gets the ball very high.
Very high, gets it off very quickly. And I think he will continue to improve. He had one punt that rolled out of bounds, I believe, on the 2 or 3 yard line and put Western in a hole. That's the type of game that you have to have. Two things have to be dominant to win. Either offense, defense, or the kicking game. 2 of those 3 things have to be dominant in order for you to win. And in the Western game, our kicking game and defense definitely were not dominant.
The offensive line, veteran, big guys, people, names are known, Otolski, Meyer, I could go on and on. Crouch, normal community kid. Wasn't he a walk-on?
Yes, he walked on.
And he's been a mainstay of your team now.
For the last 3 years.
Is his back all right now?
Back is fine. He's in his senior year. There's nothing like having seniors and the maturity factor. And he's
the fact that they might weigh 260 pounds and be able to bench press 450 doesn't hurt either, does it?
No, it doesn't. I'll tell you, it's nice to have to look up those guys like that. But our offense line did a tremendous job of opening up the holes. Stefan Wilson, a new youngster,
excellent
runner, got about I believe 121 yards. Made some key runs. Jason Johnson
looked good. Did that little injury that he had, was that anything serious?
No, he's fine, and he'll be ready to go 100% this week. And, of course, Jason adds a lot to our game, so we're very pleased with it.
Now, one of the marks of your teams always is that you have a pretty good end, pretty good split end somewhere. You get good receivers. How do you feel about this year's receiving corps?
I think our receiving corps is excellent. We got to get Billy Garrett back. He's
Billy all right now?
I think he's going to miss this week. Hopefully, we're shooting for game number 3 that he'll be ready. He twisted his knee, nothing real serious, but serious enough that it keeps him out of running full speed. And as you know, a receiver's got to be able to run 100% out. So hopefully,
Dave Wilson is back.
Dave Wilson's back.
Is he pretty much 100%
yes,
now?
Yes, he is. And I thought he did a tremendous job.
Right.
One of the things that people fail to realize, you look at a receiver and you're looking for him catching the ball. But Dave Wilson did so many other things, such as blocking to make the long run of Stefan Wilson. He had a tremendous block, getting the ball down in the kicking game. But Dave did a tremendous job. I think we lost a real fine tight end in Mark Marcinek.
Mark Marcinek, a top tight end. Now, how about that position?
And I think Chris Roberts and Jimmy McNicholas are going to come in and do a real fine job for us. They did a great job the opening game. They both can catch the ball. We're going to have to.
Federico going to help you in the receiving corps.
Federico's going to help us there in the receiving corps, and also helps us quite a bit in the kicking game. Another youngster, J.J. Walker. I think it's someone that you're going to hear about as a wide receiver. So we're happy with the way they're coming along.
Now let's talk a little bit about quarterback. We didn't get a lot of passes completed. What's your analysis of that situation?
Well, Steve Stahl started his first game as a senior, and the number one criteria we're happy with that Steve accomplished is 1, win the football game,
right,
and 2, don't turn the ball over. He had 1 incompleted pass or 1 intercepted pass, and we had 1 center quarterback exchange. Yeah. But other than that, he got us out of bad plays. Did a nice job of handling our team. We did not throw the ball very effectively, and obviously we're going to have to keep on working on that. But I think it's going to take us 2 or 3 games to find out just exactly what can he do in game-type situations as far as throwing the ball. And if we have a problem with that, then we'll have to tailor our offense to his strong suits, and that's in the process what we're doing right now.
The defensive backfield, we talked about that, about the talent there. We haven't said much about the defensive line. We're kind of getting short on time, but let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think they're led
what do you see there?
By the seniors. Babix has done a tremendous job. Bobby Camp,
he had a good
senior,
game.
He had an excellent football game. And then we have a nice splice of some youngsters. John Kropke, a sophomore. Peter Shorts, just a sophomore.
Oh, well, he has been a good player even as a freshman.
Right. I think we're going to be pretty strong in that defensive line.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Bob, looking at the season, I guess we got down to the point where we get to that old inevitable prediction, and I suspect you'll be able to wiggle out of that pretty well. What do you think? How do you think we'll come off
I think
year?
we'll play hard in every football game, and I think we'll play for 60 full minutes, and we'll represent our university in first-class fashion. How's that for an answer?
Well, I figured that would be what you'd say, and I don't blame you for putting it that way. But you obviously feel that you have young people who are competitive and who can do a good job for ISU this year.
Right, I certainly do, and I think we're probably a little bit more talented than a lot of people give us credit for. I think we got a pretty good football team.
Well, I think maybe some people are beginning to admit that after the win over Western. Now, this week we go to, tell us.
Southwest Missouri, Springfield, Missouri.
Must be a tough team. They beat Southern last week.
They beat Southern and Drake. They're 2-0. They're one game ahead of us. In the last 4 Missouri Valley Conference teams they've played, they've defeated them. So it's going to be a very difficult chore to win on the road, but I think our guys are looking forward to that challenge.
Good luck to you, Bob Otolski. And again, thanks for the kind of program that you give us here at Illinois State University.
Thank
it's
you
a
so
quality
much.
program, and I think we see that by the fact that your youngsters are, in fact, finishing their degrees. They're also giving us exciting football.
Thank you.
Terry, another good visit with Bobby O.
I'm still waiting for that prediction that says we're going to win the conference.
I don't think that you're going to worm that out of him, and I can understand that. That might be just exactly the wrong thing to say and put the hex on him.
Won't put you on the spot then. Well, thank you both very much. We'll be back next week with a special conversation with Dr. Watkins when our guest will be Dr. William Minot, Chancellor of the Board of Regents. As always, your questions on matters of general interest to the university are welcome. Send them to Terry Bush, WGLT, 310 Educational Media Center, Illinois State University, Normal, Illinois, 61761.